Hey everyone, it's Lisa, and welcome back to Lisa Between the Lines. Today, we're going to be hopping in and doing just kind of a casual little book chat because I had received an ARC for a book on NetGalley. It comes out on the 24th of this month. And this is the book right here. Let me pop it up on the screen. So it is Trouble Brewing by Walker Rose, and it says, when a country girl meets a city boy, and then at the bottom it says, an unputdownable, spicy enemies to lovers Western romance. And I'm guessing it's going to be a series because it says Crossroads Ranch up top. So this was one of those books that I don't know, I wanted something different. I wanted a bit of a Western romance, but not necessarily like a super popular one. So I had received this one from Walker Rose, Book Gocher, I believe, and NetGalley. So as you can probably tell, small town Western romance. It is enemies to lovers, as it says. Kind of also a bit of a forbidden romance. There's a few little things about grief and healing, emotional depth, and return to small town life. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm a sucker for small town Western romance. I don't know what it is. I love reading it. It makes me so happy. And so this book follows Calder and Meredith, and they have a little bit of a history in the past. So Calder's dad married Meredith's sister. The sister is kind of like her guardian, and they end up obviously, not liking each other because they felt like Calder and his brothers felt like dad had kind of chose a woman over them, and it was kind of that whole little thing. But they actually have a lot of chemistry, and that chemistry became one of my favorite things about this book. There was yearning, and if you've been following my channel for a little bit, I do talk about, or like even my reviews on Goodreads as such, I talk about yearning quite often. This one hit for me with that because I feel like a lot of books lately, the yearning's not typically there. And I feel like I've been missing that in a lot of romances lately, but it was here for that one. And this one was a forbidden romance, as you can probably tell from what I told you. If anybody kind of found out that Calder was wanting to see his stepmom's sister, like, it's kind of just one of those situations where you look at it and, like, yeah, you can definitely see why that would be a bit of a forbidden romance. However, intimacy in this book happened very quickly. And although they were meant to be enemies to lovers, I wasn't mad about how quickly it happened because sometimes I want that little bit of like some tension, some roughness, like not immediately giving into that, and that's not this book. But Calder kind of leaves behind the city and returns to country life, which was satisfying. You get to see two different sides of Calder, which I think was a lot of fun. And just seeing him kind of rediscovering a little bit of that slower life instead of the life that he built for himself kind of just brought me joy. This book, as I said, had quite a bit of emotional depth. It deals heavy with grief, unexpected feelings, and learning how to move forward whenever everything that you knew as life had suddenly changed and becomes different than what you had imagined for yourself. There was some awkward moments, but those awkward moments felt genuine and in touch with how the emotion would feel. The situations were believable, and the emotions kind of landed exactly where it needed to. Walker, which is the author, did an incredible job with details, making both the characters and the settings feel real. And it was not only a Western enemies to lovers romance, but there's healing, family, loss, finding your way forward, and the ending, which I'm not going to obviously spoil, but my jaw was kind of on the floor with that. So if you're looking for a new Western romance, I would highly recommend this one. So this again is not currently published. It's rated at this current point of 4.03 stars with 165 ratings. It is being published on June 24th. And I can go ahead and actually probably read you the blurb. So it says, welcome to Scandal. Yes, that's the name of the town. North Dakota, where loyalty runs deep and rivalries never die, especially between a country girl and a city boy who's forgotten his roots. And then it gives you a little bit of some of the perspective. So Calder's perspective. I swore I'd never return to my family ranch and brewery. Those memories are best left buried in the dust, but when my father passes, it's on me to sell up. The problem? Meredith Winslow, the girl running my father's business, except she's no longer a girl. In those tight jeans with a hotter than hell smirk and a fiery temper to match, she's all woman and she's refusing to leave. Meredith agrees to show me the ropes so I can help out until we sell. It's exhausting work, so why can't I sleep at night? Is it the paper-thin wall between us, the question of what she's willing to bet, or the thought of taking away the only home she's ever known? And then Meredith's perspective. I've worn my boots to the bone at Crossroads Ranch, feeding the horses by day and serving beer to the locals by night. Then brooding, bossy, sex in a suit Calder turns up to kick the door closed on my life with one perfectly polished shoe. This is a place I grew up wild and free. Calder says we have to leave it all behind, and I can't let that happen. Because somewhere between the eye rolls and the heated arguments, early mornings start to turn into late night flirting. Calling last orders turns into roaming hands, and finally knowing what his stubble feels like against my neck. Gliding side by side with our legs brushing turns into a hurried, fast, stolen moment against a fence post. Our chemistry burns hotter than any North Dakota summer, but this man might take everything from me, and if he keeps looking at me with those sparkling brown eyes, I'm worried I might just hand it right to him. So that was kind of how that went. You do get a bit of an emotional roller coaster with this, but it's kind of fun to see how it plays out and what everybody else kind of thinks about it. However, like, there are some things that could have been better, but it is an advanced copy, so it could, be a little bit better. But this was one of those, like, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I do think there could have been maybe a little bit more of the enemies to lovers section, but the emotional depth of it, I think, is what kind of pulled me in with this in general. And I don't really know, like, this was a 4-star book for me, if anybody was wondering. So, Calder owns the brewery. Meredith is kind of the manager, although, if you get into the book, when they find out in the will, it's actually ownership split 4 ways between Calder, his 2 brothers, and Meredith. So that also kind of plays out a little bit. And I'm just kind of excited to see if the rest of the books bring anything else, like tension-wise and how things are going to go. I'm assuming based with the other brothers. But you do get to kind of see them slowly soften towards each other. And I'm not going to lie, this book is going to throw you around. When I'm just going to give a small little warning. This book starts with a car crash, and I'm sure you can probably figure that out. But yeah, so it starts immediately off with a car crash. So if you have any sort of triggers to that, I would maybe skip this one. But like, it doesn't go super into detail. It just kind of gives you everybody else's, but you do get into obviously the grief and loss. I find it so funny that the town name is Scandal. That was the one thing I think with this book that I kind of couldn't get over, which I don't know if that's actually the name of a place in North Dakota. I'm Canadian, so I'm not all actually too sure on a lot of places and states, but I don't know. I liked it. If you're looking for a new small town romance that is not out yet but will be out soon, I would highly recommend checking out Trouble Brewing. There's really not much that you can lose with this one. Even if it doesn't hit for you like the way that it hit for me, I'm sorry, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. And I hope that you do too. And if anybody has any other ideas on, some cute little Western romances, let me know. Because, I don't know, I'm kind of in the mood for some more Westerns, although I am working on a different video right now. Hence why we're doing a bit of a book review, because the other one is taking a little bit longer than I anticipated. But I don't know. This is one of those books, and for somebody who has dealt with grief quite a bit, because I felt like it was very well handled, and you don't really get any of that like grumpy sunshine, but it's kind of nice just to see the adjustments in the character growth. So, if you're looking for a new cowboy romance, I would highly recommend checking out Trouble Brewing. Thank you again to Walker Rose, NetGalley, and Booktube for the arc. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of see what the rest of this has to offer. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up right here. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, you can hit the like button down below. If you want to see some more videos from me, you can go ahead and subscribe. I post typically only on Sundays. If you are already subscribed and want notifications when I post, hit that bell down below. Make sure that your YouTube notifications are turned on, and I will see you all next time. Bye, lovelies.